What if I was to tell you that rocket fuel was just added to mission presidents and their wives training, like spiritual rocket fuel from heaven? All 15 men. Imagine training you as a new mission president. Welcome to the last dispensation. You're living in it. Okay, 2024 seminar for new mission leaders. That's right, missionary companions, missionary presidents. I think it's, mission leaders, new mission leaders. June 20th through the 23rd, we're trained by all 15 apostles and prophets, seers and revelators. Earlier this year, nearly 150 new mission presidents and companions were announced who would serve around the world beginning July 1st, coming up soon. Before they begin their 3-year assignments, they gathered at the Provo Missionary Training Center to receive instruction and training. These are the last days, brothers and sisters, and this has everything to do with gathering Israel and the momentum, doing things with urgency. I mentioned rocket fuel, which was never mentioned by the prophet or any of the apostles, but what was mentioned, what has been being mentioned is hinge points, urgency, gaining that momentum. President Nelson's talked about spiritual momentum, repeatedly stressed the importance of maintaining positive spiritual momentum, gathering Israel, pivotal roles in gathering Israel on both sides of the veil all through the last several years. On June 20th, they were able to listen to Elder Holland, President Holland, becoming lifelong disciples of Jesus Christ. So they heard from Holland, Cook, Christofferson, Mark Bassett, Elder Mark Bassett, and Garrett W. Gong. And then the 21st, wow, look at that lineup. Can you imagine being in that room for that many days, just basking in the Spirit? Elder Anderson gives 7 ways to minister to new church members. And I found this interesting because we are now, we've been talking a lot about temples and emphasizing doing work for our ancestors. We have not been hitting a lot lately, the last couple of years, on sharing the gospel. But we do talk about, but it's been about perfecting the saints and redeeming the dead. I noticed that. I know we don't use the threefold mission of the church anymore as a pattern, but it's still a true principle, that threefold mission, right? In gathering Israel, but activating, spending time, focusing on the other side of the veil. And I would say building up our home base, right? Preparing for spiritual warfare, prepping the saints by perfecting the saints so that they could go out and gather. I liked this. Elder Neil L. Anderson says, joining the church is a very serious thing. President Hinckley said at that time, each convert takes upon himself or herself the name of Christ with an implied promise to keep his commandments. There is absolutely no point in doing missionary work unless we hold on to the fruits of that effort. But when I read this down here, which is true, but when I read this down here where he continues, I'm thinking about the type of people that join the church need to take it serious, and we need to be serious as leaders when they do join. Are they trying to receive his image in their countenance? And I don't know if this is kind of what he meant. I don't know if this is what he exactly meant, but this is what I felt. He says, to continue increasing this trend, Elder Anderson outlined 7 important considerations for helping new members advance along the covenant path. Reaffirm spiritual feelings, reminding them what they felt, maybe at the time the missionaries came to their door. I have a friend that just joined the church who is now a subscriber, and I want to mention him His name is KMF Bible Believer. Well, that's what he goes by in the comment section. He's a member of my ward, and he joined the church. I think maybe it's been several months. I know that. And he talks about before he even got involved with the missionaries, he would always see them, but he felt the Spirit tell him to get a Book of Mormon. Didn't know anything about the church, but had heard about the Book of Mormon. And he said the Spirit told him, now he knows it's the Spirit, to order a Book of Mormon and start reading it. That's how powerful, that's the electricity out here, brothers and sisters, in the world. There are people, get excited. If you're like, oh, I'm not excited about the gospel because people don't listen. They don't listen. Yeah. Oh, there are people that are prepared. The veil is so thin. These are people that are from the foundations of the world, brothers and sisters. They are spiritually prepared to be gathered. We are gathering the sheep. That's what we're doing. We're gathering his disciples. We're gathering those who will receive his image in their countenance. So when we're baptizing, let me go back to this. I know I'm rambling, but you'll get it here in a second. When I'm looking at Elder Anderson's list and thinking about those who aren't receiving, like the alphabet soup community that's baptized, and not just them, but others that we're just dunking, and they're not. Have ye received his image in your countenance? Well, you don't if you still are portraying and peacocking the old man, right? You get what I'm saying? So reaffirming spiritual feelings, just like my friend, remember the day that you felt the Spirit when it was new. Members providing assistance at every turn, attending sacrament meetings, teaching lessons a second time after baptism, attending sacrament meetings, very powerful. Teach the importance of the sacrament, that it is to renew your baptismal covenants. Teaching lessons a second time after baptism, preparing family names for the temple, engaging in weekly follow-up, giving simple assignments. If people are doing these things, then they are trying to be like Jesus. If they are not, then they're not. And so that was Neil L. Anderson. He said some other things that were interesting. He talked to them about creating partnerships between missionaries and members that will mirror and reflect the partnership and brotherhood you share with stake presidents and bishops. The older we get and the more mature we get in the gospel of Jesus Christ, the more we will see what matters, brothers and sisters. What matters and why we're in this work is to serve others, to bring others to Christ, whether they're in the church already or not yet. But anyway, you can read this. It goes on and on. Talks about the temple, eternal importance of the Savior, performing, teaching them about these vicarious ordinances, reminding them that they are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens. Elder Razban. So just some powerful training for these mission presidents and their wives. I don't like to say and their wives because their wives are acting as mission presidents as well. These are mission couples, right? Mission presidency couple. Are they just presidents or are they couples also? I don't know. Accountability, planning, your purpose and accountability, and the Mission Leadership Council provides numerous opportunities for lifting the work so your missionaries can fulfill their sacred purpose. And then he talks about planning and then goal setting. Look at that. Look at that. President Nelson talks about it was a powerful meeting. He talks about the Book of Mormon. The truths of the Book of Mormon are filled with power. We don't just hand them the book. We're gathering Israel. This is a rare possession. We do not cast pearls. I'm going to add to this. I don't want to add to it, but I'm saying don't cast your pearls before swine either. But what we do is we open to 3 Nephi chapter 11, where it talks about the Savior appearing to the new world. These are ways that you get people to fill the Spirit. And remember, you're only inviting those who want it and are prepared. You don't gather people that don't want to be gathered. You're not There's a reason why we talk about sheep, because sheep are part of the fold. If they're not of the fold, then you're not gathering those sheep and they don't hear the shepherd's voice. The converting power of the Book of Mormon, the cornerstone. Please teach them that the truths of the Book of Mormon are filled with power to help them do the impossible on their mission, power to help them, missionaries, become increasingly pure, power to help them teach with the authority from God, deep personal conversion. A lot of people gain testimonies on their missions. Look at these leaders ordained by the power of God, holding the keys of gathering Israel bestowed upon them. He talked about the conversion of missionaries being just as important as the conversion of those that they're teaching. If you don't have converted missionaries, you're not going to have converted people. Oh, that's not true. Not true. But it will be more effective, and they can teach with more power and authority and gather more if they are converted. But you can have a llama deliver a Book of Mormon on its back and have conversion. Anyway, read this article. It's awesome. I just thought I'd bring it up to you. I will read this book. Anyway, I wasn't trying to just read that whole thing. You guys can read it. I'll leave the link because I really wanted to say this. Here's what I really wanted to say. Why I didn't spend much time on it. This was definitely an incredible rocket fuel adding display of the importance of gathering Israel on the earth. What an incredible display of adding. It was simply adding rocket fuel and letting us know, too, as we see this, the 15 men know how important it is as we are in our winding up scene, wrapping things up before the second coming of Jesus Christ. Was that not a message to mission presidents and the world and to the membership of the church through this 2024 New Mission Leaders Seminar? A powerful testament to the church's commitment to spreading the gospel and bringing people closer to Jesus Christ.
It's important for every individual to have a relationship with Christ because salvation is a personal, individual experience. We do not save people by congregations. We are ourselves saved one individual at a time. This is a very personal relationship with Christ. The Savior understands us because he's not an abstraction, because he is a living, breathing, real Son of God, the living Son of the living God. People who think they've sinned too much or gone too far or been away for too long and somehow can't come back into the circle, my declaration is no one can fall lower than the light of Christ shines. That isn't possible. I think by coming to participate in the sacrament, the Lord's Supper, is the most dramatic way weekly that we can show that we want to identify with him and that in fact there will be a reciprocal gift and power that comes back from that. As we come to participate and be solidly with the Savior in that act, that solidity and that engagement comes back to us, and we leave that congregation, we leave that meeting with a strength and a power and an understanding from him that we didn't have before. Part of it is because we understand him better, but clearly it represents the fact that he understands us. My personal experience as well as my apostolic calling is to declare personally that Christ does know us. He has walked the thorny, difficult, rock-strewn path of our lives. How he did that, I don't know. I don't know. He didn't have a divorce, so you could say, well, how does he know about me? Because I had one. I don't know how he does that, but if somebody out there's had a divorce, he understands. This sounds awkward to say, but God loved me in a sense almost as much as he loved his only begotten Son. At least I can say this, he gave his only begotten Son for me. And that says something about my worth in his eyes and my worth in the eyes of the Savior, and his willingness to go to Gethsemane and Calvary for me. I'll never have to do that. I don't have to bleed, and I don't have to die for somebody else's sin, and I don't have to be that lonely. But I understand it, and I love it, and I appreciate it. And what it means to me is that he understands me, that he loves me, and that he reaches me. So I can't explain how that happens. I just know that it does.
The messages from the First Presidency and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, I want you to read this article. It's amazing. It emphasizes the need for lifelong discipleship. Like I said, receiving his image in your countenance, the role of missionaries in gathering Israel on the four corners of the earth, brothers and sisters, all over. The importance of maintaining positive spiritual momentum. Like I mentioned, it is truly inspiring to see the church's leaders guiding and supporting missionaries in their sacred callings. So read this article. It's amazing. Before I sign off, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell or notifications so you never miss an episode. You see that? You got to click all right there. To the last dispensation, that's the name of this program. Share your thoughts and insights in the comment section down below. I love hearing from you. If you'd like to support the program, you can contribute via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Additionally, check out the products I promote. As I earn a percentage, you can wear socks, beautiful socks, new socks, socks that don't have holes in them. Your support through YouTube memberships and the thanks button right there. Thank you. Thank you. And be a member. Goes a long way in keeping this channel thriving. Until next time, may the spirit of revelation guide us all. And I'll see you in the next time.